Prostitutes of Reddit, how would you describe your best, your worst, and your average customers? Average customer: someone who pays, follows the rules and treats me the way he wants to be treated. Worst: anybody who ingests drugs, coke, crack, alcohol, etc., and believes I'm their property. I give you a bad time, no matter how much you pay or complain. Best: that elderly, silent man who would come whenever he had saved enough money to afford an hour with me, simply wanting to sway to old music whilst holding each other in our arms. Then he would smile and leave. One day, he shared with me that he used to sway with his wife like this, but that she died some time ago and he missed her too much. After a couple more months, he visited a last time, then I never saw him again. I like to believe that he's with his wife again. I'll never forget him. The best ones are the ones who understand it's a job and we're exchanging a service for a fee. The worst are the ones who think you're less than a human while simultaneously using your service, and the average ones are the ones who want company and try to take the whole ruler when you give them an inch. I am 29, worked as an escort for 2 years when I was in my earlier 20s. My best client was an older overweight gentleman, I think around 65, who was just enjoying his retirement. We would hang out, he would often take me to dinner or we'd get drunk watching movies on his TV. He had a very lavish condo in downtown Austin. We actually had a lot in common and had great conversations. The night would always end with him performing fellatio, paying me and seeing me off. I actually really miss him and I wish I could get back in contact with him, at least just to check if he is still doing alright. He had some health issues last time I'd spoken to him. My average customers were usually a mix between local married straight men needing a monthly release, local overweight men not wanting to deal with the toxicity on Grindr, or horny travelers staying at hotels in the area on business meetings. Things were usually always pleasant. I would always start a new client by getting to know them for about 30 minutes, making small talk and helping them feel more comfortable. They usually reciprocated, and small talk often easily segued into sexual activity. Although most of it was easygoing, there was one experience that I remember as me wanting to get the fuck out. One guy invited me to his hotel room, and when I showed up he was very drunk. I could barely understand his speech. I attempted my usual and we eventually got to being naked, but he was very pushy and started manhandling me and shoving me around. I told him that I'm not into that and he said, "Shut the fuck up, slut, this is what I'm paying you for," and spit on me. I put my clothes on so fast and walked the fuck out. It might have just been his kink or whatever, but the combination between drunken incoherence and the fact that he was a damned stranger was too much for me at the time. Thanks for listening. Edit, some spelling for the pedants. Average: people who know what they want, pay and leave on time. Worst: fools who waste time, try to take condoms off, think they can get rough or treat you how they like, those who think they're paying for you and not the time they spend with you, the ones who try and extend the time without paying, drunk people or ones who have taken too much coke and can't get it up. Best: well-mannered, nice people. Ones who have conversational skills and great stories to tell, ones that aren't just focused on getting themselves off, those that fully immerse themselves in the experience and come back for more. Those that love to just sit and talk and enjoy your company. Disabled clients: I loved those guys. From a friend: best, clean, well-mannered, who know exactly what they're coming for and don't try to squeeze extra time for chats. Brings extra gifts and is discreet. Doesn't text unless they want to visit. Are respectful of privacy. Average, married and unhappy. Want to try stuff they couldn't even bring up to their wife. Brings exact amount, never extra. Wants to overchat and text all the time, but not blow you up. Worst: believes they are entitled to literally anything. Will try stuff without asking. Will try to talk you out of protection. Doesn't wash themselves beforehand. Constantly blows up your phone even though they can't visit. Asks personal questions. Will try to get away with going over time as much as possible. Can confirm going to a foreign prostitute is quite awkward when you don't speak a word of the language. Came out feeling pretty bad about it, as all I could do is point and make gestures. I don't regret it, but I won't be doing it again. From happy bliss to complete concern. After a pause he finally says he was so sorry and that we didn't have to do that again. He hadn't seen the gum in my hair. He thought I was talking about a childhood filled with blowjobs. Once we figured out the mix-up, he was still a bit shaken by my childhood. Your best, your worst, and your average customer C.K.A., the good, the bad, and the ugly. I just learned that truck stop prostitutes are called lot lizards. Do all prostitutes shower from head to toe after each visit? I'm not going to lie, I once visited one and all she did after was clean with a wipe and put her clothes back on. I got this vibe that she doesn't shower between clients. She didn't smell bad but did smell of that very wipe she used after we were done. I never visited another prostitute again. I want to, but that sketched me out. Any tips? Should I not worry? I'm an erotic masseuse. Best, nerdy, introverted, socially awkward techies, usually around 30 years old. I'm very attracted to these types and would have loved to settle down with someone like this. But I blew my chances by getting into this line of work. Tech world is interconnected where I am and everyone seems to know everyone else, so I were to date someone here it's very likely I've seen someone in his social circle as a client. So yeah, average, married and older, contacts me only when he wants to book, otherwise doesn't pester me. Consistent and reliable. Due to COVID I've lost most of these clients cause they don't have an excuse to get away from their wives. Worst pushes my boundaries. I screen my clients thoroughly to protect myself from these types, but every once in a while one slips through. Hygiene issues. I try to mitigate this by requiring a shower when they arrive. I think this varies by country, surely. I have friends who escort in Colombia and the mentality is much more lax than this thread says. You forgot the serious stag op. Reading these comments and it reminds me, there were times and cultures where sex workers held a high position in society. According to my missus anyway, they should be treated as heroes for providing a service that can't always be fun or enjoyable and is often dangerous. It's fucking stupid, at least in the US, the attitude towards these people, women and men. I wish you all the best. I'm not a prostitute but horny. Not a prostitute but a sugar baby, so my perception may be a little different. Best, divorced guys in their early 50s who are at least somewhat fit and decent in bed, are happy to pay me and are always consistent with it, can carry a conversation / don't only talk about themselves, and enjoy having a couple drinks with me and hanging out. Plus they surprise me with gifts on occasion. Average, middle-aged married or secretly married guys who have no interest in hanging out and essentially want a prostitute and only want to come to my apartment, because their wife is home / they don't want to pay for a hotel / don't want to risk being seen in public. They are usually overly aggressive in bed, lots of choking and spanking. Worst, younger guys, 30 to 40, that have a misplaced sense of entitlement, thinking that because they're paying me they can do whatever they want, i.e., fuck me whenever they feel like it, do anal even if I say no, not use a condom, etc. They often only talk about themselves and try to put me down / make fun of me as if I'm inferior to them. It's ridiculous since I'm working on my PhD in engineering, I'm not dumb. They also will make me ask for the money they owe me, and sometimes play the I forgot to go to the bank card. I'm not a hooker but I have a friend who's worked in that industry and according to her, most clients are boring as shit. They pay, they get off, she leaves, rinse and repeat. From what I've heard, it sounds like pretty dull work. Did it for a very short period of time. The clientele was lovely and always a good time. Dinner and theater, mostly. Once a drag show that was awesome. Good times for me, and my friend. Scout your clients. Typical not one but. I have been to a few body-to-body massage places with hot tubs. And have stuck up a few conversations with them. The best are groomed, showered, and remember they are human beings providing a service. Size and body size doesn't matter to them, average. Are clean, but remember they are providing a service. Bad people who think that they are entitled and don't care what she thinks or wants. The poems of respondents to this question. Not a prostitute, but I was an adult wet nurse. Best client, he took me on fantastic dates, we went to all the awesome restaurants in Boston, genuinely had fun, and he was super fun to just hang out with. Average, just wanted a session of suckle and done worst, he abused me terribly and ended up losing milk production because I couldn't pump after what he did to my nipples. I still have night terrors and it's been 15 years. Dear Reddit, I'm super horny. Please tell me about the sexy sex op. Ask her mom/s. What's your sexiest sex you've ever sexed? If this kinda topic interests you, check out Soft White Underbelly on YouTube, amazing interviews with marginalized people mainly from Skid Row in LA. You know that Mr. President Clinton guy? I ain't a prostitute, but I'ma upvote this cause I really wanna see the answers. Average, typically men twice my age, often with a control fetish. Not to the point where they tie you up, but slaps and chokeholds are frequent. Stupidly excited by anal and simultaneously ignorant in terms of basic anatomy. No one wants to wear a condom unless you really push for it, really stupid of them. Sleazy, pushy, clearly watched too much porn for their own good. Worst, the sadists. Ranking from the man who kidnapped me and threatened me at knife point while high on amphetamine at the very worst to the guy who got off on making me drink his piss while crying at the gross but at least not potentially deadly end of the spectrum. There are a lot of idiots ranking in between there. Best, I hate them all. Even the ones who want to cuddle and are clearly lonely make my skin crawl. I actually think those are worse than the average ones. I guess the man who wanted to pay me to step on pancakes and let him lick it at my feet was somewhat harmless, but A, he was 50 something and I was 18 and B, that ruined a pair of shoes I really liked and he did not reimburse me for those. Fuck Johns. Since we're on the topic, can any of you with experience share dos and don'ts for visiting a prostitute? For example, is it safe to eat her out? Things of that nature. Thank you in advance. This thread makes me sad. There's a sub for this/sex workers. How about we go get us a room and you too can check my oil? Not a prostitute personally, but a story I heard someone tell about a prostitute they knew. This prostitute would have one rich customer who she would frequent maybe every week or two. This rich customer would pay her big money to keep the used condoms from other encounters so he could suck out the discharge and swallow it. So just curious and not trying to be disrespectful, but is it okay to say prostitute or is sex worker preferred? Does it matter, and why? Go to horny jail. 12:1-6. Why isn't this marked NSFW? I feel like I'd be a great prostitute but there's no demand for them from women, so that's that I guess. I'm not a prostitute, but what kinda kinky shit is this?